that I had previously witnessed. I asked myself whether these visions are real or just daydreams. I cannot tell. So unfathomable are your ways. It is hard to say anything about you. You are so close, and yet it seems impossible for me even to touch you. How then am I to catch hold of you? But I am always grateful for your timely flashes that lead me out of confusion. Now I realize my impudence in presuming that I, on my own, could hold your hand. For it is always you who hold me, and it is your unconditional compassion that sustains me in my seemingly interminable journey to you. Let my trust in you sink its roots into the whole soil of my being.
So that's a very small chapter. Any questions?
Any questions?
No.
Yes.
I don't know what question.
Any questions?
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Is Semin there? Yes, Semin is there. Semin, Soumya reminds me that there's a question from your side. I'll take it up after this. Yeah. All right. It's a very small chapter. I would like to reread. There's nothing about the awakener coming in. It's just the feelings of the author. And many of us may also feel that way, that at the initial stages of our knowing Meher Baba, the master, we feel very jubilant. We use a lot of adjectives like rock star, superstar, awesome, hero, etc., etc. But after walking with him for a little while, then sometimes we feel that that sort of zest, vibrancy is no more there. But that is only because we have now started loving ourselves more than we love the master. That's the only way we can look at it, because he is always there. It's only when we feel that his companionship is not there. It doesn't mean that he has walked away. It simply means that we are now more entrenched and involved in our own I, my, me, and mine, and therefore his awareness seems to have dimmed out. So here I would like to read this again, the interminable journey. I thought it would be fun to journey with you, and so it was at the beginning. But after a time, I began to complain and grumble, and I would hear you saying, have a little more patience, a little more trust in me. If you have researched Baba's new life, you will find that people were at the beginning, they were very jubilant. But on and on, when things happened, actually they were so tired in a sense, physically, mentally, emotionally, that later at the end of the new life, only 4 companions stayed on. Of course, Baba gave them an option to lead their own life in a certain set of orders. But what I'm trying to say is that it's very tough to continue to remain with the master all the time. Have a little more patience, a little more trust in me. But this did not seem to pick me up. To cultivate pick me up means prop me up or give me some kind of enthusiasm. To cultivate that little bit of patience and trust that you expected of me was a difficult job. My spirits sagged and my heart became heavy. I remembered when I had been happy, so happy to walk with you hand in hand. I had thought that would continue until eternity. I don't know why and how things began to change, but those changes began to unsettle my relationship with you. It was hard to cope with the new situations that confronted me, and I began to feel tired and exhausted, weak and helpless. However, sometimes I would visualize that with my hand barely clutching your shoulder, I was being dragged along after you. That reminds me of a story where Dr. Ghani was elderly, sorry, and he was not keeping good health. And when the new life circular was issued to say yes wala, no wala, and arrangement walas, Dr. Ghani wanted to opt out. But Dr. Neelu and Dr. Donkin told him that don't worry about that, because Baba does say all these things that it will be very difficult life, but don't worry, because we know that Baba's health is not at all good and that he would not be able to walk at all because it was a walking journey. And so Dr. Ghani opted in the new life. But from the very beginning, he just couldn't walk, you know. And what had happened was, who was that person who gave the cane? Uh, there was some, huh? Okay, there was another gentleman who wanted to join the new life but could not, or rather, Baba said no. So he just gave his own walking cane to Ghani so that he will feel as if he is participating in the new life. And that walking the cane, you can say walking cane, walking stick was very helpful to Ghani because he would be holding on that cane, the stick, walking stick, and Baba would be actually dragging him through the way for a certain part of the way. So this reminded me that hardly you put the hand on the shoulder and he felt he's being dragged. When I had walked beside you in earlier times, my eyes had been greeted by panoramic vistas of forest and pastures. Pastures would mean grassy land. Dales and hills. Dales would mean valleys and hills. Now, as my eyes have grown weak and have lost their distant vision, I walk with my head lowered, able to see only a few feet in front of me. But on a few occasions, what beautiful heavens are reflected in the dust of the path. These scenes are even more beautiful than those that I had previously witnessed. I ask myself whether these visions are real or just daydreams. I cannot tell. Well, the interpretation to that would be that if you really follow the path which Baba has shown us or has ordered us to follow, it may not seem beautiful, but you know, the very path, the very dust which Baba treads has got a uh, certain charm about it. And so, in spite of the fact that you have grown weak and old and your eyesights have gone down, still the path will shimmer and it will give you that kind of a heavenly vision. I would interpret that way. So unfathomable are your ways, it is hard to say anything about you. You are so close, and yet it seems impossible for me even to touch you. How then am I to catch hold of you? Coming about closeness, Baba had time and time repeated that I am closer to you than your very breath. You know, I'm so close to you. The breath is the closest to us. Baba says, I am closer to you than your very breath. And the last sentence here is of that paragraph. How then am I able to catch hold of you? And many of us have had several experiences that there comes a time when we are not at all aware of holding on to Baba's Daman. And then all of a sudden we realize that it is Baba who is holding on to us. It is Baba who is supporting us. But I am always grateful for your timely flashes that lead me out of my confusion. One thing we have all observed is he may allow us to go that deep in water, but he won't make us drown. At the end moment, he will somehow show his presence, his flashes, his guidance, and bring us out of the situation. Now I realize my impudence in presuming that I on my own could hold your hand. For it is always you who hold me, and it is your unconditional compassion that sustains me in my seemingly interminable journey to you. Interminable would mean unending journey to you. Let my trust in you sink its roots into the whole soil of my being. So, in other words, let my entire being be soaked in your trust. So, this is one small chapter which we did. Now, Semin had something to ask me. Can you just come to that, Semin? Do you want to do it on yours? Semin, would you like to read out very quickly? Where's Semin?
Yeah, Cyrus, I can
Yeah,
hear, but the internet is really poor here. It's going on and off.
Okay, so we'll do it then.
Thank you, thank you.
Not at all.
True spirituality.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
True spirituality
This is a question that she's asking. Yeah. Okay.
Garrett Fort was full of questions about what constituted spirituality, renunciation, and the spiritual path. On December 17, 1936, Baba stated to the group while directing his comments at Fort, divinity is not devoid of humanity. It lifts mankind to God. Nor does spirituality necessarily imply the renunciation of worldly activities. True spirituality signifies the internal renunciation of mundane desires. Mere external renunciation, asceticism, does not lead to spirituality. Perfection is not perfection if it tries to escape from entanglement by shrinking from the dual expressions of nature. The perfect one must assert his dominion over all illusion, however attractive and however powerful. A perfect being functions with complete detachment in the midst of the most intense activity and in contact with all forms of life. Baba would ask individuals to tell amusing stories, and Garrett Fort was pleasantly surprised at Baba's keen sense of humor. Baba smilingly reminded him, divinity includes all that is beautiful and gracious. How then could you expect a perfect being to be devoid of a sense of humor? Satisfied, Fort replied that he understood. This is from Lord Mayor, American edition, Bhav Kachuri, Volume 6, page 2055. Now, question is, could you please explain this?
Okay. Explain this anytime. All right. Basically, we've been doing this time and time again, that we have been brainwashed into thinking that spirituality means getting up at a certain time, doing some nam japa. They are all there. I'm not saying denying that. Austerities, penances, some kind of, uh, what Baba used to call spiritual acrobatics, acrobats, drills, spiritual drills, and all that. Baba says spirituality means, in short, I'll of course read out the whole paragraph again. It simply means, in my understanding, that you do what needs to be done as an external sense of duty and responsibility in a completely detached manner. Internally, you should be one with in your mind, you should be having the presence of your master all the time. Internally, you should not be attached to anything. Internally, you should not be affected by anything whilst doing everything externally. All that is good, all that is beautiful, all that is noble, including the humor, sense of humor, Baba calls that true or real spirituality. So basically, it is not just that we meditation is there, concentration is there, nam jap is there, yogas are there, so many other pathways are there, karma yoga, dhyan yoga, bhakti yoga, all that are there. Nobody says anything about it, but those pathways can aggrandize our ego, which is anti sort of, I'm just using a wrong word, maybe anti-spiritual. Because on one hand, you're doing all these things. On the other hand, our ego is aggrandized that I am the doer. So Baba says that true spirituality would be that I am not the doer. It is he who is doing through me, and I am just an instrument in his hands, and I will perform my duties and responsibilities to the hilt and yet remain unaffected by the results. This is what I would understand as Baba's take on what is true spirituality. So now let us again read it, sentence by sentence. Garrett Ford was a Baba lover, a Westerner, was full of questions about what constituted spirituality, renunciation, and the spiritual path. We talk about renunciation as going away into the mountains or caves or jungles. That has its own importance in its own way. Baba calls that an external renunciation, where you cut off from all your connections, worldly connections and all that. But that is not the real renunciation, because we still have our own mind in the jungle or the mountains or the caves, and we still have our own desires, our own cravings and all that, our own likes and dislikes, our own hatred, jealousy, whatever, envy. So that external renunciation is not what Baba recommends, especially for the West. Baba had said, this is not for you. So internal renunciation means that you live in the world, you perform all the duties and responsibilities, but internally remain detached from it. So that is renunciation and the spiritual part. Now Baba says that there is no such thing as a laid down spiritual path, like a gully or a lane where you are supposed to walk and tread. No, as many souls, that many paths. The spiritual path basically means how much of the I, which is the false I, the limited I, the separative I, you reduce, then that is what is your spiritual path. On December 17th, that was yesterday, 1936, Baba stated to the group while directing his comments at fort, divinity is not devoid of humanity. So divinity and humanity go hand in hand. Many people tend to, think in that terms, oh, everything is karmically determined. If somebody is suffering, let him suffer because it is his own karma. We should not go out and help and all that. So there is no humanity over there. So divinity is not devoid of humanity. It lifts mankind to God. Anything that lifts mankind towards God, towards the truth, towards the goal, towards love, then that is spirituality. Nor does spirituality necessarily imply the renunciation of worldly activities. That means it doesn't mean, sorry. Okay, so please read out. No? All right, Soumya wants me to read out. Okay. Garrett Ford. Who was Garrett Ford? Garrett Ford was an American short story writer, playwright, and Hollywood screenwriter. He was also a close follower of Meher Baba. Ford made his screenwriting debut with the silent film, one of the finest. Early in his career, Ford co-wrote the Broadway play Jarnegan, based on the novel by Jim Tully. Anyway, so that was Garrett Ford. And he also wanted to make a film on Baba. Baba encouraged him. But I'll see, from our standpoint, we say, oh, unfortunately, it did not pick up or it did not take off. But then Baba, this is again my pure understanding. When Baba does things and it does not seem to take off, let's say, does not seem to fructify, in my understanding, it was not meant to be fructified at that point in time. When Baba takes up an activity, he is sowing the seeds of these creativity or whatever you call it, activity in terms of whatever Baba has done, so that in due course of time, it will fructify. Now, what that due course of time, we do not know, because Baba very emphatically talked about the new humanity to come, and Baba said that in the new humanity, spirituality would be a living precept. It would not be talked about or discussed or lectured. Everybody would live a spiritual life. Now, and Baba also talked that I have come to do away with rites, rituals, and ceremonies, root and branch, but we don't see that happening as of now. So perhaps, again, this is my guesswork, he has sown those seeds. And whatever he has sown, wherever the seeds are sown, it would fructify into a full-grown tree when he comes next. This is my contention, because Baba did say that whatever that had been planned out in his earlier advent as Muhammad, he is now, whatever has been planned out, that is now being spanned out. In other words, that is actually happening. So in the same way, perhaps, whatever Baba has planned out, whatever seeds Baba has sown, whatever things Baba had said, that would fructify when he comes next, as Baba said, after 700 years. So this is just a guesswork. True sorry, true spirituality signifies the internal renunciation of mundane desires. That is true spirituality. Mundane desires, desires connected with worldly desires. If you gradually uh, renounce those mundane desires, then Baba says that is true spirituality. Talking about that, I am again reminded of another word, we call it suffering. Suffering, because people suffer, and when I have heard many people say when they are suffering because of their own karmas, they say, oh, Baba is loving me all the more because I'm suffering. Because Baba did say that I love more those who suffer more. But then there are two types of suffering. Again, this is my understanding. One is the suffering which is because of our own mundane desires, the craving for our desires and running after all these things. There is if we do not get that, we suffer. That's one suffering. The other type of suffering, again in my understanding, would be that when you are sublimating the desires, that means you are not allowing it to fructify. That means you are sublimating it. In a sense, you are controlling it. Let's put it that way. At that time also, there's a lot of suffering. You see, because your innate nature wants to do a certain thing, but you are deviating from that happening. You are deviating from that, and you are channelizing that into a different lofty channel, those same energies. So there also there is suffering. But that suffering is a good suffering which will help us to propel more and more towards the truth. Sorry. Just give me a minute. No, sorry, let it be. All right. True spirituality signifies the inner renunciation of mundane desires. Mere external renunciation, asceticism, does not lead to spirituality. There are people who would wear tikkas or wear some garb, and they may be truly spiritual, we do not know. But that only doing that does not tantamount to true spirituality. Perfection is not perfection if it tries to escape from the entanglement by shrinking from the dual expression of nature. If you are shrinking, shying, shirking away the dual aspect of nature, that means if you are running away from life, if you are running away from where your karmas have placed you in your life, in a scheme of things, and if you are shrinking from that, then that is not true spirituality. Perfection is not perfection if it tries to escape from entanglement by shrinking from the dual expression of nature. The perfect one must assert his dominion over all illusion, however attractive and however powerful. In other words, we have to live in illusion, but you should not be entangled or attached to it. Like, say, we have this saying, live in the world, but not of it. Be in the world, enjoy everything, do everything, be very social about everything, but do not be attached to such things. A perfect being functions with complete detachment in the midst of the most intense activity and in contact with all forms of life. We should not shun life. We should not run away from life. We should not discard the aspects of duality. Face it bravely, face it kindly, face it with spiritual maturity, remain untouched, remain unmoved, remain undistracted by that. Baba would ask individuals to tell amusing stories, and Garrett Ford was pleasantly surprised at Baba's keen sense of humor. We all know that Baba had a very keen sense of humor, and he used it to its hilt in so many things, including alleviating his own suffering, which is, of course, the result of taking upon himself the sufferings of others. Baba smilingly reminded him, divinity includes all that is beautiful and gracious. Elsewhere, even the word noble was used. All that is beautiful, gracious, and noble. How then could you expect a perfect being to be devoid of sense of humor? In other words, sense of humor plays a very, very important part in spirituality. Satisfied, Fort replied that he understood, and I hope we all also understood what is the meaning of true spirituality. Thank you, Semin, for asking this question. I'm sure it must have benefited so many other people. This is from
Thank you so much.
Lord Meher,
Hear that.
the first edition, American edition, Bhau Kalchuri, volume 6, page number 2055. All right. So now we move on to another reading, which also is not a very big reading, so that way we can time it correctly.
What is weakness? What is strength? I was feeling low and forlorn, as if I were all alone in an alien land. So burdensome was this weight of despair that when you suddenly appeared before me, instead of being delighted in your presence, I blurted out, "Oh, why must I feel so weak and alone?" With a compassionate yet slightly mischievous smile, you answered, "Because this is helping you to establish inner communion with me. Tell me the truth. How often do you remember me when you're physically fit?" To be honest, not often. But can't you give me both strength and the capacity to remember you at the same time? I argued. "Of course," you replied with calm assurance. "Nothing is impossible for me." "Then why don't you?" "That is my weakness." "Weakness? How can the omnipotent one have a weakness? This is news to me," I exclaimed, surprised. "There is a reason for it," you assured me. "My weakness gives your heart strength." "How?" "I'm not following you." "Metal is put into a fire to temper it. Then the blacksmith blows on it with his hammer. Why? So that the metal will become stronger and able to withstand hard use for a long time without breaking. Aren't you wishing for everlasting joy?" "Yes, I am. That is what I long for most. To ensure everlasting joy, you must pass through weaknesses, nervousness, doubt, despair, and the like. However, my compassion is such that even extreme weakness serves to nurture the seed of strength buried in your heart. At the opportune time, that seed will suddenly blossom and you will be surprised at the results. So don't worry about your weaknesses. Keep up a cheerful front and you will be able to witness my love for you in a variety of ways. This answer consoled my heart, but I couldn't refrain from quipping. "It seems to me that you work better with the weaknesses of people than you do with their strengths." You smiled delightedly, and and asked me, "Is that my weakness or my strength?" I kept silent.
Beautiful. See, we all have weaknesses. And how beautifully Baba says that weaknesses are your strength, in a sense. I'll come to certain passages of Baba's statements when we read through. All right. I was feeling low and forlorn. Forlorn means left behind. I have been left behind. People have just moved ahead or abandoned. I was feeling low and forlorn, as if I were all alone in an alien land. So burdensome was this weight of despair that when you suddenly appeared before me, instead of being delighted in your presence, I blurted out, "Oh, why must I feel so weak and alone?" Many of us feel alone, lonely. And we had done this earlier, words to the effect that when you fail to see my aloneness in everything, then you feel lonely. The whole paragraph was, boredom is a lethargic void. When we feel bored with something, we are feeling bored with life. It's a lethargic void. When there's a lethargy, laziness, lethargic void, you feel void, emptiness, vacuum within us. And then Baba goes on to say, words to the effect, mind you, that when you fail to see my aloneness, that means I alone exist in everyone and everything. And when you fail to see that, you feel lonely. You see, that means we always can have Baba's companionship if we have cultivated the eyes to see Baba's presence in everyone, in everything, even in a small petal flower, even in the sky, even in the clouds, even in the rain. When we are able to see his presence, then we don't feel lonely. So here, so burdensome was the weight of despair that, okay, fine. Oh, why must I feel so weak and alone? With a compassionate, yet slightly mischievous smile, Baba's mischief is always there. He's full of mischief. That's why this whole creation came into being. The mischievous chicken. If you read the book, The Nothing and the Everything, there's a chapter called The Mischievous Chicken. And Baba is that mischievous chicken. Anyway, with a compassionate yet slightly mischievous smile, you answered, because this is helping you to establish communion with me. That means the lower we get, the weaker we get, we are able to probe deep within ourselves in order to establish or re-establish that link or channel of communion or communication with Baba. Because this is helping you to establish inner communion with me. Tell me the truth. How often do you remember me when you are physically fit? See, physically fit we also remember, there's no doubt about it. But the depth and the profundity of remembering the Lord comes only when we are in trouble, only when we are confused, only when we are weak. That way. To be honest, not often. But can't you give me both strength and the capacity to remember you at the same time? I argued. Of course, you replied with calm assurance. Nothing is impossible for me. Then why don't you? Then why don't you do that for me? That is my weakness. Baba is saying that is my weakness. Weakness? How can the omnipotent one have a weakness? This is news to me. I exclaimed, surprised. There is a reason for it. You assured me. My weakness gives your heart strength. In other words, if that weakness, let us say, of not opening up all his cards before us was not there, then we would not be making an attempt or effort to remember him with all our being. There is that nice story I think all of us know about a caterpillar. A caterpillar is in a cocoon, and the caterpillar is struggling and struggling and struggling to come out. And one fine gentleman is seeing the struggle, and in order to help the caterpillar, sorry, is it pupa? Okay, pupa. Okay. What he does is he puts a slight cut into that cocoon so that the caterpillar can come out very easily or effortlessly. But in the process, what happens is that the caterpillar is not able to develop the strength because of lack of effort, strength, and it is not able to develop the wings because it is supposed to now transform itself into a beautiful butterfly and fly away. But because of that untimely, ignorant help that was given to the caterpillar, it comes out, but it falls down, it cannot fly. So, in other words, the effort is what makes us strong. And therefore, Baba's weakness of not coming before time for our help is actually a strength, is actually providing a strength to our heart so that we can make an effort to develop that connection with Baba all the more profound. I hope I am understandable. So basically, I'll just read the three lines. Weakness? How can the omnipotent one have a weakness? This is news to me, I exclaimed, surprised. There is a reason for it, you assured me. My weakness gives your heart strength. So this is what I tried to explain as best as I could. How? I am not following you. Metal is put into a fire to temper it. Then the blacksmith rains blow on it. Rains blow means blows on it with hammer. Why? So that the metal will become stronger and able to withstand hard use for a long time without breaking. Aren't you wishing for everlasting joy? Yes, I am. That is what I long for most. To ensure everlasting joy, you must pass through weakness, nervousness, doubt, despair, and the like, so on and so forth. However, my compassion is such that even extreme weakness serves to nurture the seed of strength buried in your heart. Now, talking about this, metal passing through the fire, there was one Baba had narrated this story that one person goes to a master, one person goes to a blacksmith, or in earlier times we used to have that bartan, which is, I don't know what is it, kallai, but what is it called? What's the metal? I don't know. Kallai we call it. So he goes to a person, he may not be a blacksmith, a person who does polishing of that kallai, and asks him, that how many days would it take? So he said, you can come tomorrow and pick up your vessel. That's fine. The other person goes to another person like that who does it. How much time it will take? He says, come after 15 days. So when these two people meet, they talk to each other and say, oh, mine is taking 15 days, yours is taking 1 day. And then Baba explained that the person who takes 15 days allows the metal, the vessel to pass through a lot of, heat and washing and cleaning and whatever that is, and then he applies the kalai so that the vessel can last for a lifetime, for a very long time. The other person who does it in a very slipshod manner, just to show that it's well polished, that vessel will get spoiled very soon. So whether you want a vessel which will last a lifetime or a vessel which will, maybe get spoiled in a month or 2 or 6. So in the same way, Baba says that all these things, despair or all that, you have to go through all these things so that you become very polished. So here Baba says that, however, my compassion is such that even extreme weakness serves to nurture the seed of strength buried in your heart. At the opportune time, that seed will suddenly blossom and you will be surprised with the results. Many of us are afraid or ashamed of our weaknesses. And one of Baba's messages say, that seeds germinate in soft soil. I repeat, seeds germinate in soft soil. I sow the seeds of my love, not in your strength, but in your weaknesses. So at other places, I plant my seed, but that's the same meaning is the same. That means Baba uses our weaknesses in order to sow the seed of his love in us. So we should never be afraid of our weaknesses because we all have our weaknesses. All of us have our weaknesses. And Baba actually uses our so-called weaknesses for his work also. I am reminded of an example of Aga Baidul. If you know Baba's Mandali, Aga Baidul, it's not a weakness, but that was his innate nature to poke his nose in everybody's business. Who are you? What are you? What is your name? Where do you live? And all that he would ask. That was his nature. And Baba used that nature in order to find out the must. So he was like, he was a number one captain of, Baba's team so far as finding out the must is concerned. ARS was also there, Kaka Bharia was also there. But he was like head of that team of finding out the must, because wherever he goes, whenever he travels by bus or tram, at that time the trams were there, or by train, he would interact with people around him and ask so many questions. And one amongst them, the question would be, do you know of anybody who looks like a mad person, but he's spiritually inclined and all that? So he would find out such persons and then report to Baba. And the moment the report comes to Baba, Baba would be more than eager, he was so anxious to contact that person and help him in whatever way that he helps spiritually. We don't understand that part of Baba's transaction, Baba's work. So, in other words, one should never be afraid of weaknesses. Baba uses them in his own way. So, don't worry about your weaknesses. Keep up a cheerful front, and you will be able to witness my love for you in a variety of ways. There's another beautiful sentence, which is not, of course, in this reading, but elsewhere Baba has said, and it is very important, very nice. It says, don't worry about weaknesses. They will go, they will go. Defects will go. Even if they linger on, love will one day consume them. So what is important is do not pay attention to your weaknesses. Because as we have already done, jahan dhyan, wahan pran. Wherever our focus is, wherever our concentration, attention is, our urja, our prana, our energy is there. And wherever there is our energy, that thing grows. So if we are constantly thinking about our own weaknesses, about our own shortcomings, about our own attachment, if we are thinking about that, we are actually infusing those things with a lot of energy and they will grow. So Baba says, don't worry about all those things. It will eventually go. Eventually, what will conquer? Love will eventually conquer it. In other words, our love for our master. No matter what we are, who we are, I always keep on saying this. It's like that, what is that? OLX. Baba has accepted us in as is, where is condition. Whatever we are, he has accepted us. Now our job only is to make him the focal point in our life. Just keep on remembering him, just keep on loving him, just keep on asking him to participate in our life, irrespective of what our weaknesses are. Even if we want to indulge in our weaknesses, which we may do, we may all do, backbiting, slander, lust, greed, envy, jealousy, pride, hatred, whatever it is. Even if we are doing that, invite him in that. And the experience of quite a few people is that when we invite him, gradually he takes over and all those weaknesses will just fade away into nothingness, which they are because of our love for the master. So you're the mess. Sorry. Yeah, I'll come. Yeah, I'll just decide I come to you 1 minute. Huh? So even if they linger on, love will one day consume them. In the ocean of love, everything disappears. All right, go ahead, Dilsha.
Jai Baba Cyrus,
Jai Babaji.
Jai Baba Soumya.
Jai Baba.
Cyrus, since you asked us about the pittal, the
Kalai.
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 Yeah, it is kasa. In Gujarati, we have a metal called kasa. So
What is it called?
kasa.
Kasa. Kasa. Yeah.
Pittal kasa.
Yes.
And as kids, I remember that, there used to be men who would come with a furnace,
Right.
that metal element, and then they would have all these big, big vessels for weddings and
Lloyd.
functions. They
They
would
would put it in that, and then yeah.
that would be a mobile fire,
Right.
a mobile
Right.
fire that would come and they would put coal. I just thought I should share since you
Yes.
asked.
Thank you so much. But I got the word casa. Casa. Correct. I had forgotten
But
that.
that is in
Thank
German.
you. Thank you. What?
I, I
Cyrus
may
ji,
not.
Okay.
It's an alloy, yeah,
Okay.
of brass, copper or brass. Yeah.
Thank you.
Cyrus ji, I have a question if it is okay with
Yes,
you.
of course. Please go ahead.
Uh, we are, this thing about weakness is beautifully explained by you, but before that, you also spoke about efforts. And the question specific that I have is that Baba most of the time talks about leaving everything to him. Leave all to me and he will take care, or he will do it. As also the common thing is that, one needs to put one's efforts, one needs to do one's part. As also surrender, but work hard. How does one balance, and at what point in time does one give up and say that, at this point in time the
I got.
effort should end?
I
Thank
got your point. I got your point. In other words, this is my understanding. When Baba says leave it all to me, it does not mean that leave the efforts to me. Effort we have to do whatever best that we can do under a given set of circumstances, and leave the results to Baba is what I would understand that as. Now your question is a very, very pertinent question. At what level we leave it to him, or at what level we continue with the effort? In my personal understanding, it would be for all these questions, not only this, for any question, this is how I look at it. First thing, enthrone Baba in your heart. Genuinely, honestly, sincerely feel that Baba is in my heart and he is prompting me what to do or what not to do. I'll just say. Then second thing is, whatever effort that we make, think that he is making us do that effort, or at what level of efforts, 1, 2, 3, scale of whatever, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that way. And then leave the results to Baba. Now, when the results come, again, the question is, should we put in more effort, or should we think that this is how Baba wants it to be and leave it at that? Again, that prompting, in my understanding, would come to the individual person if he has genuinely installed Baba in the heart. Baba may prompt, that's enough. You've done your best. Now you leave it. Don't bother about it. Forget about it. Just leave it. Then you leave it. The prompting may also come that no, let us give it another try. Let us make another effort and see what comes out of it. Then you do it that way. In short, what I'm trying to say is there is no black and white. There is no right and wrong. There is no one size fit all kind of thing. It's all dependent upon our relationship with Baba and what Baba's prompting is in our own hearts in the context of what we want to achieve. Am I making sense, Dilshad?
Yes, of course, Cyrus ji.
It's very fluid. There's nothing like you try 5 times and then give it up, or 3 times and then give it up. No, it's very individual. It's very person to person, and therefore got
One
it.
also gets a lot of influence by what is called worldly wisdom. So, to be able to manage that and decipher that this is intuition of Baba or voice talking,
Absolutely.
or this is my mind talking and the world
Absolutely.
is
Absolutely.
talking. That
And
fine line
therefore,
is.
and therefore the first thing is we must try to be fine-tuned with Baba. There's a nice statement which Iraj Jasawala would say, be determined to be his. That means we have to be so determined that we are Baba's, and Baba is with me, Baba is in me, and he is guiding me, he's prompting me, he's telling things to me. It should be genuine. And as you rightly said, our mind may masquerade as Baba's voice, and it could put us into real soup, so to speak. But that also would be a growth, because once having boiled in that soup, you will know that that is not Baba's voice, and then you will know how to discern all the more.
Sarasty, I remember once you only had said about this, fine tuning the radio to Vivid Bharti and
Good
to
bird.
the other stations.
Radio Mirchi,
I
Radio
just
Mirchi.
remembered that. Thank you so much. And while
Thank
you were talking about sense of humor of Baba, I always appreciate your sense of humor
Oh,
too.
thank you. Thank you, Baba. Thank
Jai
you, Baba.
Baba.
Thank you, dear. Jai Baba. All right. So now we are coming to the end of the. So don't worry about your weaknesses. Keep up a cheerful front. Cheerful front. Baba has emphasized cheerfulness to the hilt. Even in discourses, Baba talks about enthusiasm, cheerfulness, and equipoise. You see, so cheerfulness is one of the very supreme ingredients, yeah, which we should cultivate in our life. In other words, even that was given so much of importance in the new life that no matter what is happening to you within, keep up a cheerful front. Your face should be very cheerful. So there's a lot of importance given to. We may be going through so-called hell, in life, but yet we are supposed to keep a cheerful disposition, cheerful face. So coming back to reading, so don't worry about your weaknesses. Keep up a cheerful front, and you will be able to witness my love for you in a variety of ways. The most important thing is it is so personal. Baba is so personal, one-on-one. For each one, Baba will respond in a very different way. So we should never judge or evaluate others or condemn others or do anything. Baba will tell us to do this, just do it with all humility and then leave it to Baba. This answer consoled my heart, but I couldn't refrain from quipping. It seems to me that you work better with the weaknesses of people than you do with their strengths. So, which is a fact, that Baba works better with weaknesses rather than the strength. You smiled diligently at this and asked me.
No, delightfully.
I'm sorry, delightful. Thank you, darling. Sorry. You smiled delightfully at this and asked me, is that my weakness or my strength? I kept silent. Now, talking about weakness and since we have a little time, attachments and all that, Baba has said, forget about your own weakness that we read. Love will one day consume it. But Baba had also said that hold on to my Dharma. No matter what you are, who you are, where you are, and all that. And Baba gave two superb examples of how one should hold on to Baba's Dharma. We've done this before on this platform, but all the same, since we have a little time. Baba gave the example of a kite. We know a kite, patang, we call it patang, kite, which has a tail. And you attach the tail to the kite. Now you may attach it, this is Baba's example. Now this is what I am adding to it, with a gum, you can say camel gum. I am not advertising for that company or that Fevicol, Feviquick, whatever it is. Or you may attach it with lye. Lye is a kind of gum which is very soft. Or you can use rice, cooked rice. When we were children, we used to stick things with cooked rice. We just make it into a paste and put it. So what Baba is trying to say is, no matter the goodness or the so-called dirtiness or badness or filthiness of the connecting fluid, which connecting substance, either it is lye or this or that, as long as the tail sticks to the kite, the tail will go where the kite goes. So it is immaterial whether you are good or bad or ugly or whatever it is. As long as you hold on to Baba's Daman, you are safe. You are in safe hands. That was one example which Baba had given. The second example which Baba gave was of a freight train. Freight train is the word used was freight train, but nowadays we call it goods train. The same thing, freight train. In the freight train, if you are marked, there are several bogies or compartments or whatever you call it, right?
Wagons.
Wagons. They are not just normally like how we have 9 coach, 10 coach, 12 coach, 15 coach. It may have hundreds of coaches, and we have seen when it passes through Merabar, and we see they keep on going 60, 70, 80 coaches. Each coach will have different content. Some may have coal, some may have garbage, some may have some utility items, some may have scooters and bikes, some may have cars, some may have anything. So irrespective of the content in the wagon, as long as the wagon is keeping hooked to the other wagon and to the engine, indirectly it is hooked to the engine. That particular wagon, howsoever it is dirty, filthy, ugly, whatever it, trash, whatever garbage, whatever it may be, that wagon will also reach the destination where all the other wagons will reach, as long as the wagon is hitched to the engine. So these were two beautiful examples which Baba gave, that your job is to hold on to my Daman. Everything else is my job. Your job is to just love me and hold on to my Daman. So that is how it came. Yeah, Dilshad, you have a question? Or is your hand not taken down?
Sorry, no, I did not know. I'm so
No,
sorry.
it's okay. So nothing to be sorry about. We still have a minute. Anybody has any questions, any sharing, anything to say? How much you liked, how much you did not like?
Thank you so much, Cyrus. It was
Thank you,
beautiful.
Thank you, sir.
It was really beautiful.
We still have a minute.
This
And
book is amazing.
Sorry?
I said this book is amazing.
This book is amazing because it really touches on so many aspects of our own emotions, how we go through the roller coaster rides in life, and what Baba is focusing on all the time, that don't worry about all those rides. You must learn to surf your ride. I think now it's 6:30. Thank you, beloved Baba, and thanks to all of you. And yeah, before we end, next Saturday is 25th Christmas. So we both thought that we'll give it a holiday because many people would be busy in their own homes or whatever with the friend circle and all that. So next Saturday we are not having the reading. Of course, Tuesday we will have it. Merry Christmas to all of you and wish you all the best. Avatar, Meher.
Baba ki jai.
Jai Baba. Jai Baba.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Merry Christmas.
Jai Mer Baba. Jai Mer Baba.
Jai Mer Baba.